Hey guys, it's Alex here, and in today's video, we are going to be going over the 9 elements that make up a successful real estate investment. Let me say up front that this is not a wildly advanced video. This is not for the seasoned investor. This video is for someone who is new to real estate and is wanting to educate themselves on what all goes into making a successful real estate investment. We are going to be talking about the 9 things that you need to be aware of when you are looking into purchasing a rental property. This could be a short-term rental investment, a long-term rental investment, mobile home investment. It doesn't really matter what model you are using to generate rental income, and not all of the elements on this list will apply to all properties, but these are the things that you need to be aware of and that you need to calculate into your projections when looking to purchase a rental property. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Number 1, your mortgage payment. So this one is obvious. This is the amount that you will pay the bank or your lender for loaning you the money to purchase the property. Obviously, if you have all cash, you will not be having a mortgage on the property, but I have to assume that most people will be taking out a mortgage in order to acquire their property, especially since prices are getting higher and higher in most parts of the country. In almost all cases, this will be your largest recurring expense on the property, and it's also one of the most fun payments you can make because it's the only one where you are not actually giving all of the money away and will never see it again. When paying down your mortgage, a portion of that payment goes to interest, which is how the lender makes money, and a portion of that actually goes towards your principal, which is actually paying down on the debt and allowing you to build equity in the property, which you can then use later on for whatever you choose to. If you are curious as to how much your mortgage will be for a particular property invested at a certain amount, go ahead and check out mortgagecalculator.org. It's a free tool that tells you exactly how much you will be paying on a property based on how much you put down and various factors that we will be covering in this video. Number 2, taxes. Good old Uncle Sam. Taxes will be your next expense on your rental property, and you will have to pay monthly taxes even if you pay for the property in all cash. Your taxes will be different depending on what county and what state you are buying in, so I can't give you an exact number. What I can tell you is that in my state of California, the current market tax rate sits at about 1.25% annually of the purchase price, which means that you take the purchase price of the home, 1.25% of that, and that's how much you will pay annually in property taxes. Most states are going to hover right around the 1% mark, and the range is going to be anywhere between 0.5% and 2.5% annually of the purchase price of the home. States also hold the right to raise your property taxes as home values increase, and they do this by ordering appraisals on your property to figure out how much you will owe in taxes during the following year. Number 3, insurance. Insurance is another necessary expense for your property. Different areas will require you to purchase different insurance policies, so I can't give you an exact estimate, but the most common policy people will purchase for their home is homeowners insurance, which will cover various issues that may occur in your property depending on what type of policy you purchase. Some areas will require you to purchase additional policies, such as fire and flood insurance, that are not covered by homeowners insurance. So make sure you check with a local professional and figure out what types of insurances you will need to buy and what the cost will be. On average for a starter home, you can expect to pay between $100 and $150 per month, but again, check with your area's local requirements to find out for sure. Number 4, maintenance. Maintaining your property is key to building wealth and sustaining your asset long term. Many people who do not do maintenance on their property on a regular basis and do not make maintaining their property a priority end up getting themselves in bad situations, either in the form of lost equity on their home, or even worse, a lawsuit from a tenant who is unhappy about your lack of maintenance on the property. Maintenance can come in all shapes and sizes and refers to any labor and material costs needed to repair certain household appliances and such. There are big maintenance costs that typically only pop up every few years, such as a roof replacement that's going to cost you thousands, and there are small maintenance issues that typically pop up every couple months or so, such as chipped paint that require a small paint job, or perhaps a busted washing machine that needs repair. I'm not an expert on this quite yet, so I don't want to go into too much detail, but a good rule of thumb is to budget out 1% per year of the purchase price of your home to allocate towards maintenance costs. Number 5, utilities. This is also a basic expense that you may already be paying where you're currently renting. Utilities obviously refer to the basic needs of any household, including electricity, water, trash, and any other expenses that are necessary for a high quality of living. When renting out your unit, you can choose to have the tenant pay for all of these utilities, pay them all yourself, and increase the rent sum in order to cover it, or somewhere in the middle where the tenant pays some utilities and the rest are covered by you, the landlord. Number 6, HOA fees. This is one of those that will not be required for every property and are much more common in apartment and condo complexes. Very rarely will you find an apartment complex that does not require the owners of each individual unit to pay a small fee each month in order to maintain the overall wellness and the value of the complex. Some residential neighborhoods also are going to require each individual homeowners to pay an HOA fee. Typically, your HOA fee is going to be anywhere from $100 a month to $400 per month, depending on the value of homes in the neighborhood and the cost of general maintenance in the area. Your monthly payments should fully be going towards projects that keep the neighborhood and community upkept, but sometimes these fees get squandered by HOA presidents and community managers, so keep this in mind when you are looking for properties. Number 7, management fees. Your management fee is another optional expense, and this is referring to the fee that landlords pay a property management company to oversee the property so that landlords do not have to do it themselves. Typically, if it is your first property, more often than not, people will attempt to manage the property themselves, although it is a lot more work than it appears to be, so it's common for new landlords to quickly switch over to using a management company. Property managers are responsible for various things regarding your property and investment, but the 3 main responsibilities are finding a quality tenant to lease the property out to, making sure rents are collected promptly each month, and overseeing any maintenance that occurs on the property. You can expect to pay anywhere from 6 to 12% to a property manager, depending on the amount of projected work and, of course, your negotiation skills. And number 8, vacancy rate. Lastly, you should factor in a vacancy rate. Your vacancy rate refers to the amount of time your property is empty from a paying tenant, meaning nobody is there to pay the expenses for you. These typically occur during periods where you have one tenant move out and have yet to find or start the lease for a new tenant. Vacancy rates will vary from state to state and neighborhood to neighborhood, but from my research and conversations with countless real estate investors, I found that a good rule of thumb to use when calculating your rental property's numbers is a 6% vacancy rate for the year. And number 9, which is the only positive number on this list, and that is rental income. This is the amount of rent that you collect on a monthly or an annual basis from a tenant who is using your property. In order to make a successful real estate investment, you must find a property in which this number exceeds all 8 expenses that we just named. If you are paying more in expenses each month than you are collecting in rent, then this is the definition of a bad real estate investment because it has negative cash flow. Obviously, there are other beneficial factors to owning property other than monthly cash flow, such as appreciation and tax write-offs, but these should be looked at as added benefits, and you should never buy a property strictly for these reasons. The first and most important job of a rental property is to pay you money every single month and not take money from you. Does that make sense? So there you have it, guys. Those are the 9 elements of a successful rental property. If you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you could hit the like button down below. Again, it would help me as I continue to grow this channel and grow my audience. And of course, if you want to join the community, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. And any questions and comments, go ahead and leave them down below as well. Thank you so much and have a great day.